Hey guys, so it's conspiracy week on this channel and I thought, as the title says, that we could do a conspiracy theory about schools and how they are actually in fact making us all dumber. I don't think I need to explain anymore. Let's get into the video. This isn't so much in the UK or too many parts of the world. This one's more in America, but there's a thing called Common Core maths, and it's basically you have to break down things into steps. So like an example of a video that I saw, it was 5 plus 8. Now you could easily count this on your fingers or work it out pretty easy that it's 13. But what schools are wanting you to do is get the 8 and the 5 and think, what do I need to add to this 8 to make it 10? And then you take that from the 5 and then when you've got the 10, add what's left to give you your final number. And I just think that's too many steps. And it's literally making things so much more complicated than they need to be. And it's just making students struggle so much. And it's just generally making the population dumber because it's taking them all these steps to try and figure something out, when instead of just going, oh yeah, 5 plus 8, 13. We should all know something like that, but you have to break it down, and that just doesn't make sense. Now, in water, there's obviously going to be some chemicals to make the water cleaner, so it's safe to drink. But in schools especially, if you've ever tried the water from either the school taps or fountains or something, you'll realise that it tastes different to the water that you're being supplied at home. And I found this because in schools they provide so much fluoride and stuff like that into the water that it's making it taste different, and it's making us have different ways of our brains sort of reacting to this water, and it's making me think, what if this is a brain sort of control chemical that they're trying to get us to drink so that they are able to manipulate us so much more easier and control us so that we will become basically government puppets in the future. This one is more of an issue that I have, is that schools don't teach you the means for survival. Like, oh, if an earthquake happened right now, what would I do? If a tsunami hit, what would I do? If this happened, what would I do? If they taught this knowledge, even if it's just for an hour a week, if they taught things like this, it would actually save lives. It would help people so much, because then they could carry that knowledge with them and they'd be able to help so many more people. And in these natural events that are horrible but they occur anyway, so many lives would be able to be saved because people would know precautions to take. I know a few things about tsunamis because I learned it in geography, but that's about it. I know that if you're by the sea, you'll hear an alarm bell, but that's it. I wouldn't know what to do if I was actually in that circumstance. I wouldn't know what to do in the event of an earthquake, a tornado, anything. And schools should just teach this, and they should teach lessons for life. Like, when are we ever going to need to know the quadratic equation? We're not going to need to know the quadratic equation. Teach us human rights, politics. Again, if it's only for an hour a week, just have these subjects so that we are learning about the world around us, so that we go into the world and we don't just crumble under the pressure. We will actually have an idea of how to be humans of society. We will know what's going on. In England, probably quite a lot of other countries in the world, for school you have to wear a uniform, and this normally consists of, in secondary school, a blazer, a tie and proper shirts and everything like that. And I understand that they want to get you ready for a workplace, like an office workplace, but this is kind of making me feel like this is a pressure to fit a certain mould. They want everyone to look the same, they want everyone to act the same, and it's just making me think, what if this is another form of mind control, so that when things do happen in mind control, we won't be so against the idea of mind control, and we won't be so against the idea of having to do everything the same as everyone else, because we will have been forced to, when we were younger, get into this mindset of wearing the same uniform, so they could put us all in the same clothes for easy identification. It just opens up a whole nother can of worms. Again, in the UK, this is something that I hate. This probably does happen in other countries, but since I'm from the UK, I only really know about the UK. But we are made to think about what we want to do in the future at such a young age. Like, I remember being about 10 years old and already having the pressure of thinking about my SATs results, even though I hadn't done them yet. The SATs are basically a test that we have to do to get a level grade before we go up to secondary school, so they know what level to put us in and what sort of work we will be able to handle. And I was like 10, I wouldn't have sat it until I was 11. I was already having to think of this, what school I want to go to, and then when you're in about year 8, which is about 13 years old, you are already having to think about what subjects you want to take for GCSEs, which are like, you pick these subjects and choose, and then you get grades based on them at the end, so that you can go to the college that you want to go to when you are like 16, 17, to then go to university if you want to go there, because you have to pick ones that correlate from a certain age, to get the job that you want. Now, if I'm not being too rude here, what 9-year-old or 10-year-old actually knows what they want to do as a job when they're older? I mean, when I was younger, I think I went through about every job under the sun. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be this. How are people meant to pick and choose something from such a young age? Because if you're forced in that mindset, but then you have a sudden change, you are forced to be like, no, I can't have a sudden change, I have to do this. The government, they're getting into our brains. They're making us doubt ourselves so that we don't become our best version of ourselves. This follows on from my last point, but you are under so much pressure to get things right. If you don't get things right, you're classed as an idiot. You get called out by teachers. You get called out by friends, other students. So you are under this constant pressure to get things right. And when you get things right, there's not much praise from anyone. The teachers just focus on when things are wrong, so that they can be like, oh yeah, this is wrong, this person got this wrong, and you feel bad about yourself again. So you feel like you are stupid and you don't put in too much effort, or you overexert yourself and you put in too much effort, but then the members of staff, they don't really care. So what happens? We slip back and we're like, no, I'm just not going to put in effort. So again, we don't become the best versions of ourselves. I think all of these points that I have just made about schools are reasons why they are making us dumber, because they are not helping us reach our full potential. They are making things overcomplicated. They are just forcing us to do things from such a young age that we probably don't understand, and then when we do understand, it's too late. Schools just should be generally more rounded, more supportive, more inclusive, and schools just need to buckle up and actually get things so they are easier for students that may not generally understand. Because if a student goes in not understanding, they're definitely not going to get the help they need to get up to be the best possible version of themselves. Okay guys, so that was a bit of a rambly, ranty, conspiracy-esque video from me today. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. You can comment down below what you thought. You can hit subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're at it, you can ding that little notification bell and choose whether you want to be notified for every post I make on here. Some posts or no posts. It's up to you. But the little bell is next to the subscribe button, and I shall see you next week with another video. Cheers, bye.